Little Red Writing by Joan Holub, pictures by Melissa Sweet. Once upon a time in pencil school, a teacher named Ms. Two told her class, "Today we're going to write a story." "Yippee," said the birthday pencil. "Slammin'," said the basketball pencil. "Sharp," said Little Red. "I want to write a happy story," said the birthday pencil. "I'm going to do a nonfiction story about the great state of Pennsylvania," said the state pencil. "I'll write about sports," said the basketball pencil. "I want to write a story about bravery, because red is the color of courage. But what would a brave pencil do?" wondered Little Red. "Go on a journey through the school, meet unusual characters, fight evil, save the day." Ms. Two gave Little Red a basket of 15 red words to use in case she ran into trouble. "Remember, it's okay to wander a little, but stick to your basic story path so you don't get lost." "Okie doke," said Little Red. Little Red opened her notebook and began. "Once there was a brave red pencil who went on a journey as she walked along." Walking is boring, decided Little Red. She wanted her story to be exciting. She went to the gym and was quickly drawn into the action. She bounced, she boogied, then she cartwheeled right off the page and into a deep, dark, descriptive forest. Description adds pizzazz to any story, but Little Red was bogged down, hindered, lost. She reached into her word basket for help. "Aha! Scissors! I need to cut through all this description and stick to the story path." "Need help sticking to your story path? Well, you have come to the right place, pencil," said a voice from the supply closet. "'Cause I'm full of words that have stick-to-itiveness. They'll stick up for you and stick by you, but they aren't stuck up like that tape guy down there." Little Red squeezed the bottle. Too many glue words came out. So that is how she found herself writing a sentence that would not end, but just kept going and going and running on and on, although it had no purpose, yet it would not get out of her story or say anything important, so she was glad when a helpful word arrived. "Suddenly," and it brought some friends. Suddenly, abruptly, and surprisingly, she heard a strange sound, which she decided required all capitals and rather large punctuation. Grrrr! It was the middle of her story, where something exciting should happen, and it did. That growly sound chased her. Abandoning all rules of punctuation and sentence structure in her panic to escape, Little Red began running on and on and on. She grabbed random nouns from her word basket, tossing them out to fill up the chasm of blank space, nothingness, which was all that stood between her and that grrr. Then hooray! Finally, at last, the page was full, and she could leave the horrid sound behind and go to the next page. But as the page turned, Little Red couldn't help noticing a long, tangly tail disappear around the corner. Was that tail up to no good? A truly brave pencil would follow it to find out, she thought. She decided to tail that tail and wound up trailing it around an entire page of her story. Eventually, it led her all the way to the next page and went into the principal's office. Principal Granny, office, pencil school rules. When in doubt, see something, say something, help others. Little Red knocked on the door. "Come in," said a growly voice. "Greetings, little pencil. Great to see you," said Principal Granny. Little Red was suspicious. "I'd like to report hearing a growly voice, and you know what? It sounded kind of like yours," said Little Red. "The better to be heard on the school intercom," said Principal Granny. "I'd also like to report that I saw a long, tangly tail. I can't help noticing that you have a long, tangly tail, too," said Little Red. "The better to get charged up for my school duties when my batteries are running low," said Principal Granny. "I'd also like to report I have just noticed what big sharp teeth you have," said Little Red. "The better to chomp little pencils like you and grind them up," growled Principal Granny, who in reality was the Wolf 3000, the grumpiest, growliest, grindingest pencil sharpener ever made. Just as the Wolf 3000 began to chase Little Red, in walked Mr. Woodcutter, the janitor. "Who made this mess? Help!" cried Little Red. "I think the Wolf 3000 has sharpened Principal Granny to smithereens." Mr. Woodcutter fainted. It was up to Little Red to stop the Wolf 3000's rampage. She reached into her word basket. There was only one red noun left. Would it do the trick? She took aim and threw. Kablooey! Phew, that was a close shave. "Good thing that brave little pencil came along to save the day," said Mr. Woodcutter. Luckily, Principal Granny was all right, though her life had been somewhat shortened by her experience with the Wolf 3000. "I wasn't really brave. I was scared," said Little Red. "Even heroes get scared, but they do brave deeds anyway. You are a hero in my book," replied Principal Granny. Little Red zoomed back to her classroom just in time to hear the other pencils share the stories they had written. And that's the story of the happiest birthday party ever. The adventures of the Wright brothers. The artist challenged them to a draw. The first patent for a pencil with an eraser was issued in Philadelphia. He was very tall. Then Pencil and Gretel ate all the candy. "We wrote a story together using teamwork." "Get a grip," said the pencil. Once there was a brave red pencil. Then it was her turn. "Good job, Little Red. Right on, Mrs. 2. The end. The Three Little Wolves and the Big Bad Pig by Eugene Trivizas, illustrated by Helen Oxenbury. Once upon a time there were three cuddly little wolves with soft fur and fluffy tails who lived with their mother. The first was black, the second was gray, and the third was white. One day the mother called the three little wolves around her and said, "My children, it is time for you to go out into the world. Go and build a house for yourselves, but beware of the big bad pig." "Don't worry, Mother, we will watch out for him," said the three little wolves, and they set off. Soon they met a kangaroo who was pushing a wheelbarrow full of red and yellow bricks. "Please, will you give us some of your bricks?" asked the three little wolves. "Certainly," said the kangaroo, and she gave them lots of red and yellow bricks. So the three little wolves built themselves a house of bricks. The very next day, the big bad pig came prowling down the road and saw the house of bricks that the little wolves had built. The three little wolves were playing croquet in the garden. When they saw the big bad pig coming, they ran inside the house and locked the door. The pig knocked on the door and grunted, little wolves, let me come in." "No, no, no," said the three little wolves. "By the hair in our chinny chin chins, we will not let you in. Not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot." "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down," said the pig. So he huffed, and he puffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, but the house didn't fall down. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He went and fetched his sledgehammer, and he knocked the house down. The three little wolves only just managed to escape before the bricks crumbled, and they were very frightened indeed. "We shall have to build a stronger house," they said. Just then they saw a beaver who was mixing concrete in a concrete mixer. "Please, will you give us some of your concrete?" asked the three little wolves. "Certainly," said the beaver, and he gave them buckets and buckets full of messy, slurry concrete. So the three little wolves built themselves a house of concrete. No sooner had they finished than the big bad pig came prowling down the road and saw the house of concrete that the little wolves had built. They were playing battledore and shuttlecock in the garden, and when they saw the big bad pig coming, they ran inside their house and shut the door. The pig rang the bell and said,
"Little frightened wolves, let me come in."
"No, no, no," said the three little wolves. "By the hair on our chinny chin chins, we will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot."
"Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down," said the pig.
So he huffed, and he puffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, but the house didn't fall down. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He went and fetched his pneumatic drill and smashed the house down. The three little wolves managed to escape, but their chinny chin chins were trembling and trembling and trembling. "We shall build an even stronger house," they said, because they were very determined. Just then they saw a truck coming along the road carrying barbed wire, iron bars, armor plates, and heavy metal padlocks. "Please, will you give us some of your barbed wire, a few iron bars and armor plates, and some heavy metal padlocks?" they said to the rhinoceros who was driving the truck. "Sure," said the rhinoceros, and he gave them plenty of barbed wire, iron bars, armor plates, and heavy metal padlocks. He also gave them some plexiglass and some reinforced steel chains, because he was a generous and kind-hearted rhinoceros. So the three little wolves built themselves an extremely strong house. It was the strongest, securest house one could possibly imagine. They felt absolutely safe. The next day, the big bad pig came prowling along the road, as usual. The three little wolves were playing hopscotch in the garden. When they saw the big bad pig coming, they ran inside their house, bolted the door, and locked all the 37 padlocks. The pig dialed the video entrance phone and said,
"Little frightened wolves with the trembling chins, let me come in."
"No, no, no," said the little wolves. "By the hair on our chinny chin chins, we will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot."
"Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down," said the pig.
So he huffed, and he puffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, but the house didn't fall down. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He brought some dynamite, laid it against the house, lit the fuse, and the house blew up. The three little wolves just managed to escape with their fluffy tails scorched. "Something must be wrong with our building materials," they said. "We have to try something different." But what? At that moment they saw a flamingo coming along pushing a wheelbarrow full of flowers. "Please, will you give us some flowers?" asked the little wolves. "With pleasure," said the flamingo, and he gave them lots of flowers. So the three little wolves built themselves a house of flowers. One wall was of marigolds, one of daffodils, one of pink roses, and one of cherry blossoms. The ceiling was made of sunflowers, and the floor was a carpet of daisies. They had water lilies in their bathtub, and buttercups in their refrigerator. It was a rather fragile house, and it swayed in the wind, but it was very beautiful. Next day, the big bad pig came prowling down the road and saw the house of flowers that the three little wolves had built. He rang the bluebell at the door and said,
"Little frightened wolves with the trembling chins and the scorched tails, let me come in."
"No, no, no," said the three little wolves. "By the hair on our chinny chin chins, we will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot."
"Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down," said the pig.
But as he took a deep breath, ready to huff and puff, he smelled the soft scent of the flowers. It was fantastic. And because the scent was so lovely, the pig took another breath, and then another. Instead of huffing and puffing, he began to sniff. He sniffed deeper and deeper until he was quite filled with the fragrant scent. His heart grew tender, and he realized how horrible he had been. Right then he decided to become a big, good pig. He started to sing and to dance the tarantella. At first, the three little wolves were a bit worried. It might be a trick. But soon they realized that the pig had truly changed, so they came running out of the house. They started playing games with him. First they played pig pog, and then piggy in the middle. And when they were all tired, they invited him into the house. They offered him tea and strawberries and wolfberries, and asked him to stay with them as long as he wanted. The pig accepted, and they all lived happily together ever after.
Hi there, I hope you enjoyed our fractured stories this week. And again, a special thank you to Virgil Wetzel for being our guest reader. Our craft this week is a little basket, like little Miss Writing would have. So when you come, you're going to get this. You're going to want to decorate it up however you want to. Cut out the pieces, and then they'll look like this. When you want to, we're going to fold up the edges. And fold them like so. You can staple or glue them. Stapling will probably be better. Fold up the other side. And then add your basket. Just staple that on as well. Or you can tape it too. When you're all done, you might get lucky and find a dragon egg that you can put inside. I hope you enjoyed our summer reading this summer. Thank you.